Hey, what's happening, everybody? I want to say first thing, Merry Christmas. Also, Happy Hanukkah to all, Happy Hanukkah to all my Jewish darlings out there, my Jewish fellows out there, my Jewish darlings. Not only is it Christmas today, but it's also Hanukkah. So, all fellows that have Jewish heritage in their family and celebrate Hanukkah, I'd like to say Happy Hanukkah as ever. So today I am making my poem video. I wrote a new poem this morning. Yep. And I'm not gonna lie to you. I've written this poem before, but I wrote something different that relates to a famous wrestling figure who I've really pretty much been watching since I was in the fifth grade. Yeah. You all know a story about how I started watching wrestling. Started in the fifth grade. I was 12 years old. And as I was watching wrestling, saw all the matches that have happened back then that I've never seen before, but started watching to get to know more of all the history. Now, let me tell you something about wrestling. You all know it's fake, but when you go to independent wrestling shows, you're seeing the realness that's right in front of you. But what's really real to wrestling, even though it's choreographed in a fake way, you have these famous wrestling figures who are trying to find their persona that can relate to them. And when I say persona, I mean the character that they could fit into very, very much that relates to them as ever, even if it comes from their backgrounds of what they went through in everyday life that's personal or more than just personal as you can tell. So when I look at like WWE's wrestling figures, whether it's men or women, you can tell that they have like every wrestling figure in the WWE has a persona or character that really fits them of who they are and who they happen to be. Every time you see them come, every time you see them cutting a promo, every time they're talking on the mic in the wrestling ring, or even when you see them perform in the wrestling ring, even if you see them coming out with an entrance music that really fits them, as you can tell. So when I look at wrestling figures, I know that they have a persona that really fits them, especially when it comes to the character that they've grown into, fit into, and can definitely embrace into, even if it means related to that character that they know who they can become as you can tell. So here's the thing. I wrote a new poem this morning. This one's based on one of my favorite WWE lads that's been around for so very long. I mean, he's been around since he debuted in the same year that John Cena debuted, even though it was in a different month. As a matter of fact, to tell the truth, he debuted in the same year as John Cena, but debuted like I want to say mid 2002. Yeah, mid 2002 because April 2002 was when he made his debut, and then yeah, when he made his debut, he was trying to find his way of a persona of a character that everyone could really get to know, embrace, more likely take a very liking, loving, or even hating to. And, he went through a few transformations. I mean, first transformation where he hated nothing but legends, always trying to make a name for himself at every expense of a legend's name, even the legends themselves. Yeah, trying to make a name for himself at every wrestling legend's expense. And then he went from that phase to another phase where, till this day, a lot of people have grown to love, grown to admire, even grown to embrace when they see him wrestling in the ring, even perform when he's ready to go. That's why I'm saying ready to go. Even when you see him ready to wrestle, perform, even throw what he has in store in the ring. And when I listen to his entrance theme music, I mean, that his interesting music. He went from having an old one that I remember very much to a new one that could relate to everyone. And it catch on to everybody in the world so very much that they sing his theme song till this day, just like with Seth freaking Rollins. So now, whenever you hear his music, you can join in the harmony. If I could join in the harmony of Seth freaking Rollins singing his theme song like everyone does, then I can join in the harmony of someone then I could join the harmony of singing wrestling figures theme song that really catches everybody's attention. Not only everyone's attention, not only the wrestling fans' attention, not only the WWE Universe's attention, but the whole world's attention as we know it. Personally, eventually, actually, personally, absolutely, and intention. So yeah. So who's the poem that I written on for today's poem video? This is 2:30. The last one I did was 2:29. If you haven't watched it yet, be my guest. For 230, the poem I've written on is on a famous WWE wrestling figure. And you all know this wrestling figure. Like I said, he's been around for so long. Debuted in 2002, the same year with John Cena debuted, even though he debuted back in April. Cena didn't debut until June 2002. But this lad has been around for so very long. I mean, see if you can guess this hint. The three most dangerous letters in WWE: RKO. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I did write a poem about him before, but I wanted to do something different with him included this time. So here we go. My poem is written on no other than I hear voices in my head. They counsel me. They understand. They talk to me. When you know those lyrics, only one wrestling figure can have relatable lyrics to his theme song, and that wrestling figure is no other than not only the Legend Killer, not only the Apex Predator, but the Viper, Randy Orton. So remember these lyrics whenever you hear his theme music. I hear voices in my head. They counsel me. They understand. They talk to me. When you hear those lyrics, it's like something you can relate to whenever you hear his music as ever. And I feel like that really relates to everyone because not because of what we go through, that's part of us, but what we have to put with in everyday life. So get ready. This poem, based on the Viper Randy Orton, I call this poem The Viper's Masquerade of Voices. The Viper's Masquerade of Voices by Denzel Kloss. I have seen a wrestling figure go through every transformation stage, where the fans can know and relate while they engage. Yeah. Randy Orton has become the lad no one ever gets tired of. They have seen him become the character you love watching. Even if you go to a live wrestling event where his music hits. The fans, like I'm not gonna lie, I mean if you can see Seth freaking Rollins and sing his music in harmony, you do the same with Randy Orton. The fans love singing his music in harmony mode. It's like everyone can relate to what they go through in everyday life. Randy went through a few transformations while building his persona. The Legend Killer was his first transformation that came about. Everyone knew he was going after every legend on his list. It's the truth, he really did. Ass, Hot Rod, let's try this. Jake the Snake, the Fabulous Moolah, Mick Foley, who else? Sergeant Slaughter, Hot Rod, Roddy Piper. Who else am I forgetting? Another legend. Let's see. Hulk Hogan. The rest tells the story. So yeah, the wrestling legends that no other than still exist. But his second transformation caught the whole world's attention. He had new tattoos you never came across before. But his new persona was really something you could not ignore. It connected very much with the wrestling fans who loved it. His nickname was the Viper, which he really loved being called. The wrestling fans grew on his phases of voices he can sense. Even if you catch him going for someone with an RKO, the world has witnessed the persona of Randy Orton, an individual who will never fade if you try to take him out. We really love Randy and his persona that has taken off by storm. I absolutely praise the persona he has grown into, which never stops as we know it. Join the Viper and his absolute masquerade of voices. So I'm going to show you the picture of Randy, and you all know the Viper as we can tell. Hang on. Sorry about the light. It gets in the way too much. You'll see. Here we go. There's your Viper. I hear voices in my head. They count to me. They understand. They talk to me. Every time I listen to that music, I never get tired of hearing it because it really suits Randy after everything he's been through throughout his whole wrestling career, especially in the WWE. You go from being the Legend Killer to being more than a Legend Killer, a Viper, and related to the Viper, an Apex Predator. I'll hold this up so you guys can see for yourselves. And if I have to read this one more time, I've got no problems with that. As a matter of fact, let me read this one more time, then I'll wrap things up. The Viper's Masquerade of Voices. I have seen a wrestling figure go through every transformation stage, where the fans can know and relate while they engage. Randy Orton has become the lad no one ever gets tired of. They have seen him become the character you love watching, even if you go to a live wrestling event where his music hits. The fans love singing his music in harmony mode. It's like everyone can relate to what they go through in everyday life. Randy went through a few transformations while building his persona. The Legend Killer was his first transformation that came about. Everyone knew he was going after every legend on his list, the wrestling legends that no other than still exist. But his second transformation caught the whole world's attention. He had new tattoos you never came across before. But his persona was really something you could not ignore. It connected very much with the wrestling fans who loved it. His nickname was the Viper, which he really loved being called. The wrestling fans grew on his phases of voices he can sense, even if you catch him going for someone with an RKO. The world has witnessed the persona of Randy Orton, an individual who will never fade if you try to take him out. We really love Randy and his persona that has taken off by storm. I absolutely praise the persona he has grown into, which never stops as we know it. Join the Viper in his absolute masquerade of voices. I hear voices in my head, they counsel me, they understand, they talk to me. Remember those lyrics every time you see the Viper. And that song, sang by a famous rock band known as Red Theory. This is the same band that sang that a few wrestling events related to WWE. Try, I don't know, WrestleMania 24 from 2008. Yeah. And also, this is the same band that also sang that a former wrestling event related to WWE called One Night Stand. So, yeah. I'll hold this up. And then after this, it'll be time to wrap things up. This is my poem video, 2:30, happening on Christmas Day. Yeah, believe that, as you see right before your very eyes. And you got to see me read this poem not once, but twice. And if I have to do an encore for the third time, so let it be. Almost there. Give it a few more minutes, and it'll be time to wrap things up. I could do a third encore, but I'll leave it where it is for today because it's Christmas Day. Also Hanukkah too. All right. All right, there you have it, my friends. Sorry, I just had a moment to myself. So yeah, there you have it. I read the poem on today's poem video. This was based on a WWE wrestling figure going by the name of the Viper, Randy Orton. Like I said, I've written a poem about him before, but I wanted to write it again. This time, do it different in a way that I would know how to do different, or should I say different? I would know how to do differently in a different. Yeah. So I hope you guys enjoyed this, especially with me reading the poem not once but twice. If I had to read it for the third time, I would, but I'm gonna leave it where it is for today because it's Christmas and Hanukkah as we know it. So yeah. Other than that, I just want to say thank you for your time, loves. I hope you enjoyed this. I'll see you guys the next time. If I make another poem video before we enter 2025, that will be my goal. So other than that, yeah. As a matter of fact, I could write a poem about the new year that's coming upon us. So So keep your eyes open for that. If I do, you'll be amazed. Other than that, loves, I just want to say thank you for your time. Merry Christmas. Also to also to all my Jewish darlings out there. Happy Hanukkah. I also say this in Hebrew, relating to Happy Hanukkah. I'm just gonna say this in Hebrew. Hanukkah Shalom, which means Happy Hanukkah, which I just said in Hebrew. So yeah, Hanukkah Shalom means Happy Hanukkah. Yep. Other than that, Happy Holidays, loves. Now, I'll see you guys the next time I make another poem video. This is 2:30, 2:31. Definitely going to be in the works. Take care, loves, and have a wonderful day. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and Happy Hanukkah.